From lovers to haters arc, Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the more outspoken Republicans on the release of the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also been very outspoken on Israel as well. It seems that she had greater ambitions of becoming a senator, and Donald Trump said no, and that caused her to have a come to Jesus moment, if you will, that basically caused her to go, okay, well, you then. You hate to see two queens fight? I know. Two zesty sex addicts. Here's her boyfriend, a prolific Trump glazer, is taking the news. Standing by Marjorie Taylor Greene so far. Yeah, Brian Glenn, who famously asked Zelensky, why aren't you wearing a suit? Brian Glenn, who is the chief White House correspondent for Real America's Voice, as I told you, is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. I've talked about this quite a bit. And in the aftermath of this fissure, this deep fissure that exists, this deep fissure that is only worsening, Donald Trump lost a loyal media guy. A loyal media guy who says, I stand by my queen, my beautiful queen. I love this woman. I love this country. God bless America, at Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend is posting this after Trump disowned her when his own career is based on proximity to Trump is very romantic. We all know Donald Trump has a tendency to punish dissenters who exhibit any sort of disloyalty. So I don't know how he will react to this. If we don't see Brian Glenn at the next White House presser, you know that he has fallen on his own sword, banned from the White House as the chief White House correspondent for Real America Voice.
This comes after Greene appeared on CBS Mornings Friday to discuss her support for a vote to release all of the files in the investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
The president has denied any knowledge of sexual abuse by Epstein, but this is the latest move to deflect attention away from himself.
This move is being seen as Trump putting Israel first by the online hogs. Yep, because it's true. There is truth to this. Marjorie Taylor Greene is openly anti-Israel. Marjorie Taylor Greene's openly anti-Israel tendencies is a problem for the base. Donald Trump is at an impasse here. Does he continue to try to hold the base together, or does he start attacking people who are tangentially critical of him for the Epstein stuff or for Israel, which is also another version of the Epstein stuff anyway. It's another version of the Israel stuff, rather. Sorry. For us, this is a wonderful opportunity. Let's be real. Republicans have leaned into this stuff for many, many years, conspiracies, specifically anti-Semitic ones, and now those chickens are coming home to roost. Clearly, if your coalition building revolves around entertaining these sorts of opinions, then eventually those fascists are going to turn on you because you yourself have to be pro-Israel unconditionally. And some of these guys are now hitting it. Don't go against Israel or Trump will call you a traitor. Marjorie Traitor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party, says Donald Trump. Interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene responds with this. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send text messages today. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge. The Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out that he actually goes to this level. But really, most Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. That's what I voted for. I have supported President Trump with too much of my precious time, too much of my own money, and fought harder for him, even when almost all other Republicans turned their back and denounced him. But I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district GA14 and the American people. I remain the same today as I've always been, and I will continue to pray this administration will be successful because the American people desperately deserve what they voted for. For me, I remain America first and America only. This is what she sent to DJT. In every single interview I've done, I've defended President Trump. I've said over and over, the women say he did nothing wrong, and their attorney says he's the only one who helped. And the Democrats had 4 years to release the files but did nothing. Stop ignoring the women. Many of them literally voted for President Trump and say so publicly. Them being raped as teenagers is not a hoax. I like that she said, I don't serve Donald Trump, but then still turned around and 11 hours ago said, good morning. I want to thank everyone who texted and posted. Toxic political industrial complex thrives on ripping us all apart and never delivers anything good for the American people whom I love. The PIC tells us to hate each other, fundraises off of why we have to hate each other, and pits Americans against each other. This is all so wrong. This and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. It really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. I forgive him and I will pray for him to return to his original MAGA promises. Oh, incredible things are happening on True Social. Oh my God. These guys are one speed, dude. They have one speed. This is the same as like looking at Mark Milley and being like, oh, he's a woke Maoist Milley. It's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. Unironically, more hogs look like that than liberals. Exactly. The blue hair septum piercing doesn't work no more. It doesn't work any longer. There are so many crusty ass conservatives out there that look like that. Oh, she also is getting contacted by private security firms with warnings for my safety as a hotbed of threats against me are being fueled and egged on by the most powerful man in the world. The man I supported and helped get elected. Aggressive rhetoric attacking me has historically led to death threats and multiple convictions of men who were radicalized by the same type of rhetoric being directed at me right now, this time by the President of the United States. As a woman, I take threats from men seriously. I now have a small understanding of the fear and pressure the women who are victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his cabal must feel. As a Republican who overwhelmingly votes for President Trump's bills and agenda, she's gone woke. I mean, yeah, the Republicans have a quick way of just immediately being like, well, you yourself are obviously anti-Trump. You're against our big, beautiful president, and that means you are woke.
Just being very honest with you, it's something that I don't understand. I think it's a huge miscalculation, and I truly just stand with the women, and I think they deserve to be the ones that we're fighting for.
With Greene and a handful of other Republicans supporting it, the U.S. House is poised to vote next week on a plan requiring the Department of Justice to release those files.
They can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already.
I'm going to do this one more time. Donald Trump, if you really want to change the discourse around this stuff, do socialized medicine. I promise it'll really piss off everybody, okay? Nobody will talk about the Epstein stuff ever again, really. Everyone will talk about how, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. This is so unacceptable. How dare you do this? Socialized medicine, high-speed rail, socialized medicine, building a robust industrial base, free college. You can call it Trump care if you want. I'm just saying, if you really want a distraction, it's much better than bombing Venezuela. And it'll be an ongoing distraction too. Please distract us with that. Mr. President, please, I'm begging you. It's a win-win because you get to destroy Obama's legacy. Think about how much you can own the libs and own Barack Obama. You get to destroy Obama's legacy and you get to build something that's even better than what Obama couldn't achieve. Only you can do it, Mr. President, please. One of the big stories of 2016, 2027, and 2028 is that many Republicans do want to start quietly moving on from Trump. And how successful Trump's attempts at controlling primaries will be as a lame duck. He is a galvanizing force, unfortunately, for the Republicans. Establishment Republicans haven't stopped hating Donald Trump. The only times where they forget about their hatred for Donald Trump is when Donald Trump delivers on deregulation and also tax cuts for the super wealthy. But they still see Donald Trump as an uncontrollable force. That's the reason why they tried to pull the Ron DeSantis exit ramp, but it was a spectacular failure. We don't know how that will look.
Then during the shutdown, she was one of the few Republicans that correctly identified Donald Trump's unwillingness to deal with the ACA subsidies and lower healthcare costs for Americans as being one of the reasons why the shutdown occurred.
Yeah, she was very...
Liberals love a former Republican. I guess just as much as Republicans love a former Democrat. Not to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a former Republican. I think she's still very much invested in being a Republican. Maybe even more right-wing than Donald Trump is. But you will see liberals. I feel like it's already started, but like liberals are gushing over Marjorie Taylor Greene here. I mean, for me, it's strategic, right? I don't have an issue with hyping up what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing currently because I think it's beneficial. I think it's good when the Republicans are fighting. But I do fear that liberals might take it a step further.
I trace all this back to his decision, the righteous decision to strike Iran. She was against it. So were some of the people who occupied.
Yeah, of course, Scott Jennings loves Donald Trump's righteous decision to strike Iran. He's a pro-Israel stooge. I think it's an interesting phenomenon that we're experiencing because Marjorie Taylor Greene is not actually opposing Donald Trump from the left flank. Like, she's saying she's true to the America First principles that Donald Trump initially ran on, helping the American working class, isolationism as a foreign policy. Like, these are the things that Donald Trump initially ran on. These are the things that a lot of people like Donald Trump for. And there's a lot of people who are anti-Israel, so she's leaning into that crowd. Of course, none of these people on the media side are anti-Israel, make no mistake, but that's what's going on here.
A lot of my friends would have been shocked at you trying to subvert the elected president of the United States, which you did.
Oh, well, I proudly did. I proudly
Some
said
mid-level
to the
staffer
country
substituting his
who
judgment
this
for the
man
elected
was.
president of the United States.
Well,
Good
Scott,
luck,
I would have
brother.
loved to have seen you stand
Good
up
luck.
to it.
Good luck.
Back to MTG. On
I don't even know what's going on. It's just like they're infighting because it's all right wingers on the panel. It's like rhinos versus former rhinos, now pro-Trump, and they're just like fighting each other. I guess this is what happens when you're too successful. Right wingers are so successful at like doing political violence that they end up doing it to themselves, as we've seen many times over. And I guess the same thing goes for right wingers on this Trump stuff, where it's like we've already so thoroughly dominated the left flank, or not left flank necessarily, but like the Democrats, that it's time to fight amongst ourselves. Pascal Emmanuel Gaubry says, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an example of the promise of and peril of populism. She's a good person, a mom who loves her country. She was a better congressperson than an empty suit would have been in her place. But she's also clearly not very bright, extremely gullible, and emotionally incontinent. And ultimately, doesn't have the skills to produce any real political wins or policy outcomes that can actually make a difference to the people she wants to represent. Sad. As in, I liked it better when she was screaming about Rothschild space lasers instead of actual abuses by powerful people. Both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens has said actually anti-Semitic, and they have been defended by the Republicans until they became anti-Israel. Republicans, for the longest time, and this also is conservative Jews who are Republican as well, have also abided by this principle that it doesn't matter if you are an anti-Semite as long as you're pro-Israel, right? That was the method. Their anti-Semitism was not a deal breaker until they became anti-Israel. If you can't recognize that, I don't know what to tell you. Ben Shapiro quite literally has openly stated this when defending Ann Coulter, when she said anti-Semitic way back in the day. Not only that, but also Ben Shapiro hired Candace Owens, even though he knew very well that she was also anti-Semitic. Ben Shapiro fired Candace Owens when Candace Owens, the perfect room reader, decided to turn on Israel. She used to have many pro-Israel tweets back in the day, but when she became anti-Israel, that's when it was a bridge too far.
Think about it.
On Epstein, sir, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, was on CBS News. She was talking about how the files should be released. We anticipate that a vote will happen in the House. I know you wrote about the investigation today.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. You're going to have to look into his friends, because if they're going to do that, and I think the perfect guy to do it would be Southern District, somebody like Jay Clayton. I understand that's who's been assigned.
But does the congresswoman have a point, though?
Does Marjorie Taylor Greene have a point?
Does she have a point, though?
I know nothing about her.
On the release of the files. All the files.
Well, she can.
I know nothing about her. That's crazy. I know nothing about her. Who is that woman? She's dead to me. All of a sudden, fake friend, don't know her.
They can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already. Look, this is a Democrat hoax. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective. But this is a Democrat hoax to get away from the fact that they just lost the shutdown and they've lost the elections. They've lost the big election, to me, in a record number. They lost the popular vote. They lost the swing states. They lost everything. I think it was 312 to 220 something. So this is a way of...
This is absolutely the worst time for Donald Trump. His popularity is waning. The affordability crisis is coming back to bite him in the ass. He's weak. He's ineffective. His base is actually frustrated with him. That's the reason why they're talking about like the traveling stuff. Because he knows that that's another reason why Republicans are mad. Because they're like, bro, why are you constantly in like Asia and come back home and fix the goddamn prices of food. Fix the grocery prices. I can't believe it, dude. 11 months and here we are.